Have you ever wondered why, even when you think positively, visualize your dreams, and try to keep your vibration high, things still don't happen the way you want? Maybe you've been applying the law of attraction, waiting for the universe to one day reward you. But what if I told you there's a much faster, more direct and more powerful path? What you're about to hear today could flip the switch of your reality forever. Because there is a law capable of bending time, accelerating results, and eliminating the wait, the law of assumption. Once you understand this, you no longer have to chase after your desires. You become your desire. Stay with me until the end, because today you'll learn what no one ever told you. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you already are. And to begin with power, comment below. I now assume my new reality. The knowledge you're about to access isn't based on guesses or motivational catchphrases. It comes from the mind of one of the greatest students of human consciousness, Neville Goddard, a master of manifesting realities through imagination, assumed as truth. But he wasn't alone in this vision. Another essential name to understand the power of the mind is Jacobo Grinberg, a Mexican neuroscientist who dedicated decades to studying the structure of reality and the way consciousness shapes the world. Grinberg proved through his research that what we call reality is, in fact, a projection of the mind. In other words, the world you see outside is only a reflection of what you sustain within. Both arrived at the same conclusion by different paths. External reality has no will of its own. It responds to your inner state. And the most powerful inner state is not desire, not positive thinking, and certainly not waiting. It is conscious assumption. In this video, we'll use this profound knowledge to show why the law of assumption is much faster and more effective than the law of attraction, and how you can apply it starting today. Many people believe that the law of attraction is the most direct path to manifesting their desires. They are taught to visualize, repeat positive affirmations, and keep their vibration high. But even with all this effort, what they receive in return is silent waiting, vague results, and growing frustration. The question that starts echoing inside is, why hasn't it happened yet? The answer lies in the mechanism of the law of attraction itself. It works through vibrational frequency. In other words, you attract what you vibrate with. The problem is that most people vibrate in alignment with exactly what they are trying to avoid: lack. When someone visualizes their dream car, it's because they don't yet have it. When they affirm, "I am rich," they are often trying to convince themselves while still feeling scarcity inside. It's in that gap between desire and reality that the vibration becomes contaminated. This happens because the subconscious picks up on the real feeling, not the surface words. You can repeat, "I am prosperous," 1,000 times, but if your body is tense with fear and your mind is full of doubts, the message the universe receives is, "I still don't have it, I still need it." Vibration is not what you say, it's what you feel to be true. Furthermore, the very idea of waiting already contains a confession. What I want is not here yet. And while you wait, you feed that absence. You look to the future as the place where good things are, but unconsciously reinforce the idea that the present moment is lacking. And the universe, which mirrors your internal state, simply confirms that. Imagine someone at a train station, staring at the tracks, declaring with faith that the train will come. But every minute that passes without the train arriving only increases anxiety, doubt, and the feeling that something is wrong. This is how most people live their journey with the law of attraction. Waiting for the train, hoping it arrives, but unconsciously reinforcing the fact that it hasn't arrived yet. This constant waiting becomes a vicious cycle. Time passes, results don't appear, and the person begins to doubt their ability to manifest. A dangerous thought then arises. Maybe I'm not good enough, or maybe this only works for some people. At this point, many give up, believing the law of attraction doesn't work, when in fact it's working perfectly. reflecting exactly what's being emitted: lack, doubt, separation. The truth is that the law of attraction, when used without full awareness, can trap you in your own desire. And desire, no matter how beautiful it sounds, is a declaration that you are not yet. And it's this vibration of "I am not yet" that makes the process so slow, so dragged out, and often ineffective. The law of assumption, as taught by Neville Goddard, begins with a revolutionary principle. You don't attract what you want, you manifest what you assume to be true about yourself. This simple difference completely changes how reality behaves before you. While the law of attraction focuses on wanting, visualizing, and waiting, the law of assumption invites you to immediately step into the state of being, as if what you want is already here, now. It's a shift in identity, not intention. You don't say, "One day I'll be prosperous." You affirm, feel, and live as, "I am prosperous now." And this isn't just a phrase. It's an inner position of certainty. That certainty doesn't depend on external proof. In fact, it anticipates reality. The law of assumption states that the external world is not the source of your experience, but the reflection of it. Meaning, what you see outside is only the consequence of what you've already decided to be inside. Change begins in the invisible, in the inner mind and emotion, and then the universe, like a mirror, responds. To assume is an act of courage, because to assume something that hasn't yet manifested physically, you must abandon the logic of the material world and trust in the creative intelligence of your subconscious. It's like putting on a new skin, a new role. And when you do this, something extraordinary happens. Reality begins to bend to your new identity. If you assume you are loved, you begin to act, think, and behave like someone who is valued. That changes your interactions, your decisions, and the way others respond to you. If you assume you are prosperous, you start making financial decisions with confidence, not fear. Your body changes, your language changes, and the world follows. The most interesting thing is that in this process, there's no room for waiting, because by assuming, you already live the end. You already are. It's not about attracting something for the future, but recognizing that what you seek is already within you. And manifestation is just the natural consequence of that new inner vibration. The law of assumption is therefore a law of identity, not attraction. It operates not on what you want, but on what you believe yourself to be. And when you change your identity belief, everything around you begins to reflect that new configuration. It's not about effort, nor about time. It's about immediate energetic possession. It's consciousness declaring, "This is already mine, because I already am the one who has it." And that's why the law of assumption works so quickly, because it doesn't wait, it embodies, and the universe always responds to what you are, not to what you hope to be. To understand why the law of assumption works with such speed, it's necessary to grasp how the subconscious operates. And here lies a crucial point. The subconscious doesn't judge, question, or analyze. It only accepts and executes. It is neutral, like fertile soil that welcomes any seed you plant repeatedly, whether positive or negative. If you repeat that you are unlucky, the subconscious accepts it. If you affirm that you are confident, it also accepts it. It doesn't care about logic, evidence, or coherence. All it needs to act is repetition with emotion. And this is where most people sabotage themselves without realizing it. When you say, "I want to be rich," the conscious mind understands the desire, but the subconscious hears something different. "I am not yet." And since it works with images, emotional states, and inner convictions, it simply replicates that state of lack. That's why repeating desires, without assuming already being what you want, ends up reinforcing the opposite. Neville Goddard said the subconscious is impersonal. It doesn't respond to what you want, but to what you feel to be true. That's why assumption is so powerful, because it focuses on installing a new truth in the subconscious so convincingly that it begins to act as if that were the only possible reality. Imagine you assume with full conviction that you are a highly sought-after professional. Even if your calendar is still empty, your behavior changes. You carry yourself with confidence, radiate authority, and naturally start making decisions consistent with that identity. Once the subconscious accepts this new truth, it triggers a domino effect. Your perceptions change, your choices change, and the external world begins to reflect this transformation. It's important to understand that the subconscious doesn't respond well to empty phrases without feeling. It needs vivid emotion and strong mental images, preferably repeated during receptive moments, such as the relaxed state before sleep. In this stage, known as the hypnagogic state, the conscious mind starts shutting down and access to the subconscious opens. If in this moment you affirm, "I am confident," truly feeling that emotion, the subconscious will register it as a new command. And once programmed, it no longer distinguishes between imagination and reality. It begins to act as if that were fact. And that's all the universe needs to start moving in your favor. In short, the subconscious is the bridge between your inner state and outer manifestation. If you feed it with doubt, fear, and scarcity, it produces exactly that. But if you nourish it with consistent assumption of a new identity, it transforms your life from the inside out. Without effort, without resistance, simply by accepting what you choose to assume as truth. One of the biggest misconceptions about manifestation is the idea that it's enough to think or feel something for reality to magically change. But the truth is that when you assume a new identity with conviction, it naturally changes your attitudes, decisions, and behaviors. And those actions, aligned with the new version of yourself, are like gears that speed up manifestation. Picture two people with the same goal, achieving prosperity. The first repeats affirmations and visualizations, but continues acting like someone in scarcity, hesitating to invest in themselves, fearing risks, sabotaging themselves with doubt. The second deeply assumes, "I am prosperous," and from that identity begins acting like someone confident in their ability to create value. They invest, position themselves securely, behave with clarity and vision. Who do you think will manifest results faster? Identity drives action, and action in turn reinforces identity. This is the virtuous cycle that makes the law of assumption seem magical. But it's not magic, it's strategy. What changes is not only what you believe, but how you act because of what you believe. When you assume you already are what you wish to be, you no longer wait to act like it. You don't postpone decisions, hide behind fear, or need external proof to validate yourself. You simply embody the role. And when you do, the world begins to respond differently because you are positioning yourself differently. Want a simple example? Think of someone who assumes internally, "I am confident." That person begins maintaining eye contact, speaking more clearly, saying no when necessary, valuing themselves in negotiations. These small behaviors provoke different reactions from those around them. The external world starts treating this person as confident because they already see themselves that way. This is the secret many ignore. You don't act as a result of external change. You act as the cause of change. And the root of that cause is the identity you choose to assume. The law of assumption, therefore, doesn't eliminate action. It elevates the level of action, taking it out of obligation and placing it into the natural expression of being. You don't need to force yourself to act courageously. You act courageously because you already see yourself as courageous. You don't need to force success. You act successfully because you've already assumed that role internally. This is the difference between effort and flow. When you try to convince yourself of something you don't believe, everything feels heavy. But when you become what you desire, Action becomes light, natural, inevitable. Assumption is the trigger. Action is the reflection. The result is the consequence. Up to this point, we've talked about the principles that make the law of assumption so powerful. Now it's time to put it into practice. Below, you'll learn 4 simple, direct, and extremely effective techniques to activate this law in your daily life, so that your subconscious accepts the new identity and the universe reflects it in your reality. 1. Live the end. This is one of Neville Goddard's central teachings. Living the end means imagining not the process, but the final result already accomplished. Instead of visualizing the journey of finding love, you see yourself lying in bed with that person, feeling loved and chosen. Instead of imagining building wealth, you see yourself accessing your bank account with the balance you desire. This isn't about fantasy. It's about creating such a real internal emotional experience that the subconscious accepts it as fact. 2. Mental diet. Your inner dialogue shapes your perception of reality. So the second technique is constant vigilance over your thoughts. Whenever you catch yourself saying phrases like, "I still don't have it," "this is hard," or "this doesn't work for me," interrupt that cycle and replace it with identity affirmations. I am, I have, this is mine. This daily mental re-education reprograms the inner field, which is where reality originates. 3. Revision of the past. The subconscious relies on past experiences to create patterns. But unlike what many believe, the past can be redefined through imagination. Neville taught the practice of revision, where you choose an event that caused pain or rejection and mentally recreate it with a different ending. For example, if you were fired and felt humiliated, you can imagine being promoted or recognized in that moment. By repeating this new version, you free your subconscious from replaying that trauma and create space for a new reality. 4. State akin to sleep. SATS. This is the golden moment to implant new ideas into the subconscious. In the minutes before sleep, your mind enters a more receptive state, between conscious and unconscious. Here, you can close your eyes, relax your body, and deeply feel the emotion of already having what you want. Visualize in detail, imagine the sensations, and fall asleep in that state. By sleeping with the feeling of the wish fulfilled, your subconscious records it as truth. And once recorded, it begins to transform your behavior, your perceptions, and your reality to align with that new frequency. These 4 practices are not magic tricks, nor strategies to trick the universe. They are tools to convince yourself. Because once you change your inner truth, the external world has no choice. It must adjust. Use these techniques consistently, with faith and surrender, because what you assume with conviction becomes inevitable. Now that you've understood the transformative power of the law of assumption, the time has come to stop waiting and start assuming. It's no longer useful to repeat that one day things will change. Your future begins when you decide to be the version of yourself who already has what you desire. Assume today that you are prosperous, that you are loved, that you are capable, because the universe doesn't respond to your desires. It responds to what you believe yourself to be. And when that identity takes root, reality bends, shifts, reorganizes. Start now. Choose a powerful affirmation and repeat it before sleep, as if it were already true. Correct your thoughts throughout the day. Live the end. You don't need permission to be who you were born to be. And if this video touched something deep within you, subscribe to the channel, activate notifications, and share it with someone who also needs to awaken this power. Leave in the comments the affirmation you choose to assume from today. Write with faith, because this will be the seed of your new reality. You're not attracting anything anymore. You are becoming, and what you become is inevitable.